Hi, everybody. Wow, I think I got this a little too loud. Oh my god. That's better, maybe? Yeah, it's too loud. Better, better. Oh, this is all the way down. What the hell? Okay, well, whatever. my, oh my god, it's loud. It's way too loud. Why is that happening? Check, check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. That's better. My group chat that I'm in with with people. Let's just put it this way: with people. It's weird. It's weird right now. It's fun. It's fun. It's. I'm actually laughing my fucking ass off about it because it's so random. Cause okay, so I'm in the group chat with my coworkers. Okay, it's a bunch of us women in there, and so apparently, like, oh, there it is now. So in the morning we gotta make iced tea and shit. See, it just gets better. It gets better. So one of the coworkers says in the group chat, she goes, "If Paula is in here, I got the tea nozzles. We have nozzles that we have to screw on to big pots where we make tea in the morning, iced tea." And she says, if Paula is in this group chat, I have the tea nozzles. And I just read that and I'm like, what? What? And Paula's like, why do you got the tea nozzles? And then she says, are you messing with me? And then I said, I'm laughing my ass off right now because what does that even mean? I have the tea nozzles. Like, what? And then she goes, Paula goes, I'm trying to figure it out. Guess no good sweet tea. Oh my god. I guess you should have been there. This is so. This is so funny to me right now. This is so funny. Oh my god, because like, each everybody knows when you work with people, it's like each coworker has like their own character, they have their own personality, and then you're in a chat with them or even over text message, you can kind of like, if you're a person like me, you can kind of imagine their voice and their facial expression when they say that, whatever it is that they type. You know what I'm saying? So I'm seeing Mary just because she'll do random shit like that. So it's like weird. Oh, she just answered. Okay, so she took them with her. Like, I guess she's cleaning them, or I don't know what she's doing. I'm gonna say, what the fuck are you doing with them? Or why the fuck are you taking them hostage? uh, why the fuck are you taking them hostage, Mary? She said, don't worry about it. I'll be there at 10 a.m. with them. I don't have to work till 3, but what's she say? Absolutely sweet tea. I brag about your tea all the time. Just know you get there at like 5:45 a.m. Didn't want you to worry. Oh my god, because oh hi, Seth. Say hi. How are you? Because it's we all ran on Paula because Paula will be there like fucking 45 minutes before we start opening the restaurant. It's like, why are you here so early? That's why she just told us. Just want to make sure because I know you'll be there at 5:45 a.m. Awaiting Paula's daily phone call. Oh my god, that's so good. Mary, man, these girls. It's hilarious. It's hilarious because we rat on each other for shit, right? They rat on me for being like super brash, you know. Mariel is so aggressive, so aggressive. Oh my god! And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just forward, whatever. She's like, it's funny though because it's like aggressive, but it's like a cute aggressive. I'm like, no. Oh, I'm sorry, Sensei. I hope things will get better for you and whatever it is that's going on. You're welcome. You don't have to thank me. I didn't do anything. Thinking about somebody or wishing somebody well. It is really unfortunate that like the way this world is working nowadays is like somebody will not do something for somebody else unless they get something in return. And today was a good example, for instance, like, and I don't give a shit. You guys know I get political because that's this this is my stream and I wanted to speak about this because this affects everybody. I love when people are like, I'm not political. It's like, well, how are you not political? Because politicians decide our lives every day. They decide our laws. They decide what we're allowed to do, what we cannot do. Like, you have to be political. Like, there's no way you're not political. I fucking hate that. But it's like the fucking Orange in Chief not supporting and helping Ukraine unless he gets rare earth minerals as a negotiation tactic. Like, if you want us to help you, you're gonna have to give me something. That's so fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy to me. Like, the motherfucker Putin is about to march all throughout Europe and fucking take that whole world over, and Mr. Orange and Chief wants to fucking, I want something. I'm not gonna help you if you don't give me something. What the fuck is going on here? What is this world coming to? And I mean, it's been 100 days this motherfucker has been in office. We got almost 3,000 more days of this shit to go. Holy shit. This is crazy. Unless, of course, yes. Which, I mean, if he was not, everything is possible, but some things are really just not possible. Like, we have resistance, but the resistance is small and far in between, and I mean, the resistance already pissing him off. If he wants to, he can go that route and just fucking activate the military and have fucking literally judges executed and shit like that. Like, I would not put it past him. There's not like, at this, the shit that he's done already so far, the violence and the atrocities that he has like executed onto people by his own like demands and just consequential, indirectly are fucking insane. Like, people are dying at his hands right now. Americans, people overseas, because of his decisions. And he thinks he's doing a great job. So, I mean, he's already disobeyed multiple court orders. Laws do not even, and that's exactly where the joking stops, right? Because that's how exactly how Nazi Germany began. When that's exactly how it started. This is a picture perfect repetition of what happened in Nazi Germany. I'm from Germany, born and raised. You guys, most of you know that, and it's like the story of how the Holocaust started has been drilled in our brains for generations. 2, 3 generations now, and as you guys also know, I've been lately translating the book of my great grandfather, which was in 5 different concentration camps, and then wrote about it after he was released by the Americans. Ironically enough, when we think about what's going on now. Also, weirdly enough and ironically enough, I'm doing this right now. It is very strange, and you guys know my belief system, and I do believe that there's such a thing as fate in some weird sense, right? I still believe that our lives are very meaningful to the vastness and to the length of the existence of the universe, and all of this. Like, we are nothing, right? We're just a tiny speck. But I do believe that there's still this weird force that somehow forces us into these, brings us where we go. And I think there's a reason why I'm doing this right now. Yeah, it's like and you guys know the whole immigration part. You know my problems that I'm having with that. And what he's been doing with that. I mean, he's been putting permanent residents as well as U.S. citizens in incarceration and deported them, even so they were here legally. Some of them born here. So this person does not stop. This creature does not stop at anything. And yeah, it's just wow, man. It's wow. I've been my anxiety has been like going crazy with that. It's not easy for me because I have, you know, when I really, to be really honest, I don't have many things that I truly love, right? And there are not many things that truly love me. And maybe it's my own fault. Maybe it's just the person that I am. I don't know. Um, that people just can't. They just cannot love me because I'm not lovable because I just maybe I'm too demanding, maybe I'm too, I don't know what it is, but it's like, oh, that was weird. It's like these few things that I do have, if I'm gonna be ripped away from them, then I see really very, very, very little reason to still exist then, um, I mean, I already see that right now, my contribution is so small, like I'm not like what do I live for? I don't have kids. I don't have grandparents or parents that are getting old that I gotta take care of. I have nothing. I have nothing. It's already questionable. Existing. I'm just doing it because it's like um, if I don't, then I take away any chance of something of me being worth something in the future. Um, that's it. I think all of us do, Cynthia. I think all of us do. Um, some of us more than others, when we go inside of our heads and stuff like that. I don't know. This just right now is a really a lot of nervousness, for me. Uh, I always see these little glimmers of hope, the certain things that happen, but it's like I feel like a cleansing needs to happen, you know, but not by humans doing it, right? Because like we should be sticking together in any way, in any case, right? Because that's how we can progress. That's how we can, um, that's how things, in my opinion, can like evolve to something bigger. When we put our heads together, that's how it is. But there is a cleansing currently happening, and it is it's Mother Nature is finally fighting back now after all the destruction we've been doing. It's finally now starting wildfires, earthquakes, all of this destruction, and I'm not mad about it. Like this needs to happen. This needs to happen. There's too much. There's too much pollution. This needs to be cleansed out. This needs to be eradicated by Mother Nature as it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Um, and of course, people will say, "Ah, well, of course, it's easy for you to say because it's not happening to you." But it's not this way because I do put myself in the position every day. Not every day, but when I think about this, I've been homeless multiple times in my life. I've lived with nothing, um, and I'm very good at putting myself in these shoes. And I imagine oftentimes the only thing, and this is really true. This is totally from the bottom of my heart because I sit there and I analyze like how will I feel if for instance a wildfire blows through here and burns the whole house down with everything that I own in it, right? Not my cats. Like, of course, if something that happens, then it's fucking devastating to me, of course, because that's one of the things that I love, and one of the things that loves me. But I mean, like possessions. There would literally be only one thing that would where it would really kill me inside, and that would be like my box of like memorabilia, letters, old letters, pictures of my parents, all of this stuff. Because if that's gone, then that's devastating. Because both my parents are dead. You know what I mean? So it's like that would be really hard for me to deal with. Um, Besides that, I don't give a shit. Like I have literally the way I have this set up is that I have three boxes, and if something were to happen, I just need to grab those three boxes and run. You know, I have it set up like that because that is what's most important to me. I don't care about it. Everything else I have, yeah, sure, there are thoughts of some artifacts on my altar that is like, wow, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Shit. Oh, this one. Oh, fuck. Oh, ugh. I go through that, but because you know, when we really think about when we go back to the beginning, when we humans were hunters and gatherers, like what did we have? The people didn't have anything. They lived day to day. They had no possessions. So the whole thing is like we're now being put back to zero if that happens. We're putting back to the beginning, to the natural state, how we're supposed to live. You know what I mean? Because it's not about possessions. It is about living life, living on instinct or by instinct, and potentially or probably living with other humans. you know, and living in peace with nature. I had another thought today too. When I always say like we have come very far away from nature, right? Like for instance, my one coworker that we just talked about, Paula. Uh, she just moved into it like a brand new development that's just been built. Like literally, it's still being built, but her house just got finished. Uh, and she's telling me about these like news about these wild hogs coming into their yards and tearing up the flowers. She's like, "Have you heard about this?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't heard about this." What do you mean? She's like, "Yeah, these are the wild like pigs that are coming in the yard and they'll tear up the flowers." And immediately I thought about this and I was like, "Yeah, because we are infringing upon their area where they live." She's like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, exactly. That's why they're doing it." And I can already tell that people are blaming the pigs, or people blame the alligators when they come in their yard. It's like we are um like uh, what's the word? Like we're taking over their territory. We're taking over their land where they live. We're like going in it. It's like, of course that's what they're gonna do, you know. And I hate hearing shit like that because in that moment, all I think about is that animal and how the animal is feeling. The animal is scared. The animal is confused. The animal is trying to protect its young. The animal is trying to protect its food source. Like this animal is going through torment, because of this happening, because of what we're doing. It's so fucked, man. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And people keep building these companies that keep building and building because it's all about money. But it's like, what is there at the end of the road, or even at the beginning? There is no money. There's nothing there. There's not, like, it's so crazy. It doesn't, when you really think about it, money, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. But so my whole point was like, okay, when I always talk about how we come further away from the natural world, right? And then of course we talk about the beautiful nature and the animals, da da da. But really, part of the natural world, that's life. That's life being free. Like people wearing clothes the way we do. Like forcefully, forcibly. These are things. When I'm not on camera, I don't really wear clothes. I don't, because like what why it's so it's uncomfortable. It's just, clothes are really for going outside or whatever, to protect your body from uh, um environmental factors, the cold, debris, whatever it is, as a hunter. My mentality is always like a wild person. That's just how my mentality is. So anyway, so it's like when it comes to hold on, my phone. When it comes to the natural world, also part of the natural world, besides life, besides being alive and living, is death. We have come so far away from being close to death, right? Because things are so, because institutions have taken that over, when a person dies, they go right into, you know, wherever the crematorium or whatever, they get examined there by professionals. You don't see the body ever again, and the only thing that you ever see, unless you get like an open casket or whatever, then the person's made up with makeup and shit like that. But normally the next time you see them, they're in a closed coffin. They're being lowered down into the ground. That's it. Or you get an urn. You don't even see nothing. You just get a fucking urn with ashes in it, right? There's no more process done by the relatives for the relative that has died. Our ancestors did that themselves. They didn't have people doing that for them. They did that themselves. They had to dress the body themselves of the dead mother, of the dead father, the dead child. Oftentimes it happens that the child will die before the parents, which is, already unnatural in itself. That shouldn't really technically occur, but it does occur, and still till this day, obviously. And I think about, you would have to look at this dead person. You would have to look and smell and touch, and for days at a time, right? Prepare them. When I think about, I don't know what triggered that thought in me. But I think it's because today I received a shipment of new rabbit pelts. Okay, and I use them for decorative purposes. Um, Now, I always make sure these pelts are not, these rabbits are not hunted by humans to get pelts. These are discarded, pretty much garbage when, of people hunting rabbits to eat them. Doesn't make it any better, but there is the leftover of it are the furs, and they sell them. So I purchased the furs, and to me, it's like I have just receive part of this spirit of this animal, and that is in my home now. And I look at this fur, and to me it's because when I feel it, I know that this is part of death. This is part of death. Like I have multiple like deer skulls hanging in my home and things like these. And it's like I like to surround myself with death, because that is why compassion and things like these are so limited nowadays. They're very limited, because people don't really experience the loss. They experience the loss in the sense of like the grief, but actually having to prepare the body and do all these things. There's a huge part missing. There's a huge gap. And I think it's comparable to like I really think it's comparable to a person caring for their elderly parent that is now like in hospice or something, and it's really just kind of dying, and you have to wipe their ass, and you have to do like people like that. I think, yeah, they are still a little bit closer. They're still a little bit closer because they're going through that. You know what I mean? Like, um, and I admire them. And mhm, because I can remember times, I never had to do anything like that for my parents, but my mother was pretty sick with her lung conditions and stuff. So there were times where, it just for my mother to be able to breathe better, I would be massaging her back, in the lung area, and she would have these paranoid thoughts. She'd be like, are there bumps there? Are there bumps there? Because when I did that to your grandmother, she had all these bumps there because there was the cancer in the lung. I'm like, Mom, there are no bumps. There are no bumps. You don't have lung cancer. My mother did never have cancer, even so she died. Yeah, and I think there's this rawness to. I think when you do something like that, it's like you've had a glimpse in there, and you've had a glimpse in there, because other people are so sheltered. Rich people, if their parents get like that, they just have a caretaker do it. They just pay somebody to do it. They don't even have to come close. That's why I think a lot of things are ridiculed, and a lot of things are just like not taken seriously, or not, you know, people are not being respected. This person did this, and people look at them like, ugh. I'm like, what? Could you have done it? No, I would never do it. You're just scum, bro. Like even if people talk like that all the time, and I'm like, man. Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier. For instance, like I've I knew this. I read this book, The Inca Empire. I read this whole book, and it really great book, great book, just like a textbook, and it just broke it all down. It was so perfect. I learned so much about the Inca, and it was one of the most like impactful things that I've ever read. Like impactful to me, to my own way of thinking and my own way of life. Right? These people lived thousands of years ago. Now, the Inca were the the Inca were one of the first people ever to mummify their dead, their relatives and such. But they did it in a different way. So the way they did it, they had what was called or what is called mummy bundles. Okay, so they would take the dead person and they would put them in like a seating position most of the time. They did it in other ways too. Most of the time they would put them in a seating position, and the Inca were very like sophisticated when it came to their textile workings, right? Like making of clothes and making of blankets and all of these things, and they were super sophisticated. They could weave in like the tiniest like designs in there. Most of these textiles would have llama designs because that was their main animal that they used, for sustenance and stuff like that. Llama milk, and they would use the wool of the llama to make these textiles, and they would use the meat of the llama. The llama was like the thing. Um, or the alpaca too. Um, so what they would do, what would set them apart from like the Egyptian mummies, for instance, because the mainstream will tell you all about the Egyptian mummies because it was so bourgeois, it was so bougie, right? That's what this new word, bougie, because it's all adorned with gold and da 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 da, and wrapped in this cloth and put in this casket that's all decked out and everything. It was so much more elaborate, right? But the main difference was that the Inca, they started having mummy bundles or mummies. They mummified their dead thousands of years before the Egyptians. Like I think what I heard, I think they said 3,000 years before the Egyptians mummified their dead. The Inca were already doing that. So that's huge already in itself, right there, right? So the other thing is, okay, so what I was talking about, the textiles. Okay, so we know that the Egyptians used, they used specific salves and stuff like that, and they used the specific cloths and stuff to wrap their dead really tightly, and that's how they preserved them for as good as they could. Um, because their belief was they're gonna go into the afterlife, and they had to look good. That's why they would bring into the different, if it were pharaohs that died, the different chambers that the pharaohs died in, they would bring like bread, they would bring beer or ale, they would bring fruits, they would bring all kinds of stuff, because they were thinking, okay, these pharaohs are going to go into the afterlife. They have to have all this food with them when they go, because they took it really figuratively. They would even sometimes, well, not sometimes, but most of the time, they would sacrifice the servants of the pharaohs, because the servants have to go with the pharaoh in the afterlife, because the pharaoh needs servants, right? It was huge. It was a huge thing. Read the Book of the Dead. It was, So now the Inca. So the way they preserved their dead was very different. So a lot of times the heads of the people were not really preserved with anything. So they would just be, a lot of times they would be just skeleton. Be just a skull, just bone. But their bodies, however, they would wrap the bodies in these elaborate textiles. And they would wrap them really like layers and layers. Um, that was one of the things that was very helpful in preserving the bodies and the skin of the dead. Besides the fact that the climate, of course, now Egyptian climate very dry too. However, not as dry as the climate in Peru, where the Inca, the climate in Peru extremely dry, and that was also very helpful in preserving these, these mummy bundles, and so imagine this, imagine you do this when your mother dies, and you put her, you have to put her, and you set her up, and you put her in her tomb, and you have to wrap her in these textiles, and you have to spend, and they will go back, they will go back, and on the different times, be it the birthday of the person, it depended, or whatever, it depended on whatever it was it the birthday or the day of when they passed or whatever. They would go back each time to this mummy bundle, and they would like reupholster it. You know what I'm saying? Like they would put more, they would replace the textiles or put more textile, whatever, and they would keep revisiting their deceased relative. They had this connection, and and I think that is a huge, like, gap that connects us even to our own spirituality, right? Because I think that when when you think about, your spirit and your spirituality and reaching out into, other energies and places beyond, you cannot just act and think you have a handle on it if you haven't experienced some kind of this in some way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it becomes superficial then. It's not, it becomes shallow, and it's just not really, you know, viable, if you will. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that because, you know, of course the pagan, the pagan aspect of myself, you know, is, how do I say, like, to have these things around me, but when I really take it apart, there's this inside of me that is saying, I need to surround myself with this because I need to not forget that this is a part, like when we think about especially my Germanic ancestors, it was big on their behalf that rings and circles were huge, because to them it was all a big cycle. It was a big circle, from life into death and then back to life, or back to whatever. In especially in the Germanic, like, belief system, in quotes, or in the Germanic culture, there were multiple different things that could possibly happen to you after death, but one of them was complete seizure of existence. You know what I mean? There's no, that was one of them, but there were multiple other things. But however, and there were also, one of them was rebirth. There's, where the circle or where the ring comes in. But I mean, in technicality, our ancestors understood that it doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter what happens to your soul or your spirit, or what you think is going to happen, or if nothing happens and then you just cease to exist. The body, if it's treated as it would have been by our ancestors in the natural state, right? Now, there could be certain rituals. For instance, I'm going to bring up my ancestors because I know most about that. to the contrary of what people believe, that Germanic people would put their dead on a boat and light it on fire and send it out to sea. That did occur. However, the common practice of burying the dead, or of disposing of the dead, was by burying them in a ship. Literally, they would put the dead person in a Viking vessel and bury the entire vessel. Okay, that was very elaborate. Most of the time, this was like done for kings, or people in charge. But it would also happen for others. But most of the time, burial was there. Very similar to the Egyptian style. Um, because they would bury, sometimes they will bury their, if it was a warrior, be woman or man or whatever, they would bury them with their horse. They would sacrifice the horse and lay the horse with their owner and bury the weapons, their clothing. They will bury all this with the dead person. Now, of course, in the sense that for the afterlife. However, if it so occurred to be that this person does not make it into any type of afterlife and there's just a seizure of existence, this organic material, as the person and the horse were or are buried, then will um at some it will start to decay, and at some point it will give nitrogen to the earth, and therefore will create new life, and new things will grow from it. And so therefore basically the dead person will grow into a flower or a plant, or something. Some life will come from this dead body. And that is right there, the cycle. It is really funny when we think about, like, it's a circle of life, like in Lion King. That's exactly even how Mufasa explains it to Simba. I find it really, really great, actually, that in the '90s that Disney was trying to tell us something here. Disney was trying to explain to us in a cartoon, a children's cartoon, trying to make the children understand what it is about, just for the parents to be like, but the Christian God, and you go to heaven. And it's like, okay. But, this is, so I think that the problem is we're so far removed from reality, right? Because that is part of reality. Um, Texting on the phone, like people like to do texting all the time, texting. That's all I'm experiencing in my life. Like, even, I mean, it, even my very best friend, granted, she cannot help it. She lives very far away. She cannot really come all the time. But it's really, for me, it's so hard because I am not that person. I have never been that person. There are so many people out there. Most people out there nowadays are completely content with having a connection with somebody. They think they have a connection with somebody through texting. There's no, like, to me, there's no connecting. There's no connection. I have no connection with you. Unless I see you in physical life, I have no, like, connection to you. And, it's just me. What can I say? That's why lately, closest I've been feeling, literally, is to my coworkers. I've been feeling closest to my coworkers because these people are there. I talk to these people. I spend time outside of work with these people here and there, not much. But, like, if I don't see you physically, then doesn't mean I don't love you. I love you any less or whatever. But I know myself, right? I know myself. I know I still love you. I still have the same, connection. But I know, I think I know you too. Like, I am pretty sure you don't. You know, especially people that are capable of coming, of seeing me physically, and they're not doing it. Then no, we have no connection. So, right now, I'm hoping that this beach trip that I'm planning with my people from work is gonna go through, because I really need something like this. I really need some actual physical bonding with humans. Because I'm getting farther and farther away, man. I'm farther. I can feel it. I can feel it. Like, I'm really getting to a point where I don't even want to. And this can be dangerous. Getting so far away from wanting to be around humans. I, you know, and I mean, it can be okay, but yeah. I mean, it's not like I would disappoint anyone. I guess I'm thinking, I disappoint someone, but I won't. Because, like I said, nobody's really with me, so I should just let it go its course. Because my animals, that's who's my family. It's my animals, pretty much. Everything else is just entertainment for a little while, and meaningless, because that's just what it is. Because when shit hits the fan, if I'm sick or if I'm dying, who's gonna be around me will be my animals. They might eat me when I die, too. But that's it. And my brother. But, of course. But besides that, there's nobody. There's nobody. Doesn't mean, like I said, doesn't mean I feel a bad way or don't love somebody. Thank you, Sensei. And I hope whatever is plaguing you, that somehow will resolve too. Yeah. So, kind of just an update on how how I've been kind of feeling. But it's not really a feeling. It's not really. I don't really have any emotional feelings attached to it. It's just kind of a realization. Like, I'm not like, I can honestly say, like, I used to be. For so many years I would always be so sad about it, but I'm not even really sad. Mm-mm. I think that has passed now, because, like, what's the point? What am I sad about? Why am I sad about people or connections that I don't know or have? That's not. I'd be sad about a connection I lost. Which, if there was never a connection made, then there's no loss. And like I said, for me, a connection made is if I see you physically. If you're physically around me. If you're not physically around me, then we are acquaintances. You know, and you're a person that I hear or see or talk to. But you're not family or friend. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you are a very kind person, Sensei, and kind and considerate, because I mean, you come into my stream literally every time I stream just to wish me a good stream. That's very, very kind and thoughtful. And every time I see you, I'm like, that's, like, thank you. Like, that's, I don't even really know what to say. Like, I don't even know what to say, because nobody does that. Nobody. You're the only one. And my last 4 streams have been horrible. There's only been like 2 people in here or something, but it is what it is. I still try to do it. But yeah, enough with my rant, I guess. I think I'm just gonna hop off for tonight. Yeah, I really hope everything will work out for you, Sensei. I think I'm gonna have to do some inquiring with the gods, cause to get me back on track. Cause I think I'm on track, but I need to be better on track. I don't know if that makes any sense. Thank you so much, Sensei. Thank you. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I'm gonna hop off for tonight. It was nice. I appreciate you listening to me, to my rant. Thank you. Thank you. And I have a good feeling that things will work out the way they're supposed to for you. Might not be noticeable until the second chime or try around. Like at first, it'll probably seem not good, and then something will come around, and it immediately, pretty much. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I don't know when I'll be back. We'll see. Thank you, Sensei. Have a good night. Yeah, help the cause. Help the cause of the planet that you dwell on, and stop reproducing. And don't forget to mourn those that are in spiritual turmoil. And until next time, I say tschüss, travel, and bye.